Having earned varsity letters in 4 different sports, it goes without saying that Pete Sellers made an impact during his time at Edmonds Woodway High School from 1991 to 1994. He earned 4 varsity letters in football, 3 in baseball, 2 in basketball, and 1 in track. You're going, what? Yes, his junior season, when he broke his thumb, he couldn't play baseball, so he picked up a javelin and just went out and won Wesco. Peter received all Wesco first team recognition in both football and baseball. His senior season on the football field, he completed 56.5% of his passes for 2,129 yards and 17 touchdowns, and was named the 1993 state passing yards leader. Pete earned all-state honors and was the Everett Herald's Offensive Player of the Year. For the Warrior baseball team, he was a force on the mound, leading his 1994 team to Edmonds Woodway High School's first playoff appearance, setting a team record for innings pitched, 62.6 innings. Pete attended Dartmouth University and played both football and baseball for the Big Green. As starting quarterback in 1997, he led Dartmouth football to a 5-0 start, passing for over 1,000 yards and finishing the season with an 8-2 season record. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Peter Sellers a loud round of applause.
I wrote up a few notes. I'm just forewarned, I haven't slept in 2 days. I flew in from New York, worked all night, and I'm a little tired. And it's pretty emotional coming back, after being away from Edmonds since I was basically 18 years old. So I want to thank the committee and Angie. It's been, I think Angie probably realizes what my schedule's like. I'm writing her 1 o'clock her time. I'm up for Europe, or I'm trading Asia, or doing work. So we were going back and forth. It's just very special that people, make this kind of an effort to come out of the way and, really make a meaningful moment for me, for my family. So I'm totally off the list I was going to talk about, but just for kind of a quick background, I am an original descendant of the Yost family from Yost Park. My grandmother worked as a switchboard phone operator. We have a long history here, so this is a very special honor for me. My dad was a very good QB. Apparently, the folklore says in 1956 he led his team to a big victory in 10-degree weather down at the old Boys and Girls Club field at that time. I'm sure he was a lot faster than me. I think probably threw the ball a little better than him, but I know he was a really good. I know he was a really good athlete. And I owe a lot to his just everything he did for me, and my mom and my sisters and my family. Just huge supporters of me. I can't really say enough of that. I grew up on Daly Street, right downtown Edmonds, right next to the Escondon family. And I would be remiss not to mention Steve for a couple things. So my junior year in football, I got hurt. Steve took over as quarterback. He might be better than me. The next year, I was the quarterback, and he moved and took the back seat and went to wide receiver, and promptly became all-state wide receiver. So it does say something just about the teamwork amongst teammates and people accepting their roles and thinking about where you fit in and where you can add value to a team. And to me, sports has been so little about how I did. I don't remember a lot of what I did or some of the games, but I remember the moments. I remember the hard work, and I could recognize and say something great about so many people that are here right now. Like just looking at many of these coaches that made a huge impact on my life. And if I talk about one, I feel bad about not talking about the other 20. So I'm not going to go down that road. But I do want to talk about you know, a lot of people are, you know, just different people that impacted me in my sports career, and a lot of it post high school. I guess I'll start with just right away in high school though. My first game, I was a freshman, I was a starter, and I want to mention a person there, but Harry Beresford and Matt Starr were my two starting tackles. People probably know those guys pretty well. And there was a coach, Skip Case, who was probably one of the most memorable coaches before, and I was the, you know, the green freshman, and I'm 5'10", 150 pounds soaking wet, and these guys are all 280 pounds. And, you know, you get to the game, and then I remember a guy, Nate Tyler, who has since passed, was a very special friend of mine, and probably the best wide receiver I've ever thrown a ball to, and I've thrown to guys that made it to the NFL and trained with these people. This guy was incredibly gifted. But I remember as a freshman, he was like, "Pete, don't worry about it, just throw the ball out there, I'm gonna get it." And I did. My first pass was in the back of the end zone, and I remember him leaping up over 3 guys and count the ball. And I also remember Coach Case, before the game, he always had some, kind of smart comment. It was always very gruff, and his comment to me was always, "Did you bring an extra pair of pants?" And I didn't really know if he meant, like pants for the game, but he meant underwear. And he was just saying, like, "Are you going to get out there and solo your pants because you're scared, you're not ready to go?" And I didn't get the yes at me for that every game for the first 10 games of the season. I think I figured out my sophomore or something like that. So it was pretty cool. Another person, that was influential to us was a kid, Trevor Simpson. He passed away when we were 16 years old. He was an incredible athlete, a straight A student. And, when I get up here and I get to talk, I don't feel fortunate, I just feel even lucky I'm here. There's been a lot of, we're all lucky, like every day is never given, and I've had a lot of experiences in life that were really, really difficult, that I might touch on a little bit, but, I think just remembering these, people that you didn't get to grow up with and to see what happened to them, like that was, there's been a lot of, I think going through sports and all the people that you meet, I was lucky enough to play, 2 sports in college, and was the only kid at our school that did that. And it took a tremendous amount of work. I was always in training year-round, switching between sports, traveling, and also going to a pretty rigorous academic school. It wasn't easy, but it taught me a lot about being grinding and working, and having coaches along the way that put that into me. There's nothing but a substitute for working hard. Like that's pretty much it. I did baseball scholarship at Washington State. I went on a recruiting trip. I wanted to play football, and Ryan Leaf was there that day on my recruiting trip, but I figured it probably wasn't a good chance to play. So my dad sent a letter to the Dartmouth football coach. My dad had a 75% ride to Dartmouth as a kid, but didn't have the money to go. He sent a letter to the baseball coach, and that's how I ended up there. Is where it happened. And on to my time at Dartmouth, we had a this ceremony is really special, and we had a similar one too for my senior year football team. I think it said we won 22 straight games, but I think it was 25. But it was the 25th anniversary of our 10-man team, and there was roughly 120 players on that team, and I believe 97 people showed up. And this is up in upstate New Hampshire. There was people that came in from Japan, from Europe, and everything. It was like, it was 25 years later. It's like, I hadn't missed a beat. All of us remember all the memories we had of playing football and running around in the mud and having tough days and, winning games and losing games and all the emotional ups and downs of that. And I'd like to comment on a couple of the guys I played with. And also on my life in New York. I've lived and worked in New York since 2000. I'm a 9/11 survivor. I very nearly died that day. I have, a lot of friends that died that day. Should have been working at a different firm. My first job offer out of college was at Cantor Fitzgerald. The 8 guys that interviewed me all died. The person that told me to take a different job was my college football roommate, Swami, who he blew his knee out 2 years in a row, and I was his nurse. And he advised me, Pete, we should take this job together in North Carolina. And so we were bankers, we worked 100 hours a week, and we did it. But had he not told me that, I didn't. Like, that's just the fact is. And what did I do? I went back to New York, and I was right there when the towers fell down, and, you know, sports saved my life that day. And it's the quick thinking, you know, the ability not to be paralyzed, and, you know, just making very, you know, at the moment decisions without a second thought. And, you know, I don't think you learn that stuff unless you're, you know, an athlete and somebody's running at you, you're about to get your head smashed off. It's something that was special to me. And, so one of my roommates was a guy, Zach Walls. He ended up playing for the Arizona Cardinals. He was a linebacker. I remember him showing up to college. He was 6'5", about 180 pounds. He was on his skateboard with braces. And he was the #1 recruit for our school. And I look at this kid, I'm like, this is our best football player? He ended up going to the NFL and played for 6 years. His best friend was Pat Tillman, who I think most all of us know. You know, and there's a special story about that. Zach, as a freshman, or like when he was a first year rookie on the team, all the senior people on the team tightened up almost to be duct tape. And Pat was also a rookie. And, you know, Zach told me about the story. He's like, he came out with scissors and cut me off of there with all the 300-pound linemen right there. And none of them stopped it. And, you know, that tells you, you know, like, the value of what teammates are. And we did a fundraiser for Tillman after that, and the two guys I got to meet was a guy, Rob O'Neill, and then Margaret Luttrell. O'Neill was the person that shot Bin Laden, and Luttrell was the guy from Lone Survivor. And we talked a lot about their stories and, you know, how sports impacted their lives. And I wasn't expecting that. We ended up going out for beers in New York, and, you know, like, it was, I listened to this guy give a speech. It was the most incredible speech I've ever heard. He just talked about, you know, how sports and how martial arts and how his discipline saved his life that day. He was shot 6 times. He broke both his legs, fractured his skull, crawled 9 miles out of the valley in Afghanistan. They were chased by 240 people. His 6 friends all died. And I just remember asking him, I'm like, what, you know, I'm like, how did you make it out? And he's like, I'm a Navy SEAL, and he's like, I'm not dead until I can't breathe. And, you know, it's the dedication that he's had in himself personally and people's mindset, and like, I think it's what makes really great athletes, you know, that can have this type of intensity. Another kid I played ball with, he won the gold in the shot put. He was 6'1", 250 pounds. I showed up the first day of practice, and he put 225 pounds on the bench and did 49 times. And I'm like, I don't know if a lot of you know what that means, but I think that would break the NFL combine record. And, you know, he was just super intense. And the most important thing about it, too, is, you know, we've gone through this whole era with steroids and performance-enhancing drugs, everything. He is the third farthest shot put in history, and the only 2 people in front of him were known steroid users. And, you know, he did it the right way. He worked really hard, and he was really talented. And, you know, I think I've just been really lucky to be surrounded by a lot of, you know, special people for sports, and that's really, you know, how I feel about sports. To me, it's just been all the great people and all the lessons that I've learned.